Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike. I'm here with Tyrone and Menelik. Hollister will be joining us hopefully later on. He said he has some stuff to take care of. If not, we'll just do another one with him in it. But today we're going to talk about some MMA. We have a UFC fight card tonight. Don't mind me if I sound a little bit different. I don't have my mic with me. I'm actually away from my house. It's Halloween, and I'm letting my wife and the kid and her friends come through and do their little thing. So yeah. But anyway, tonight might be Anderson Silva's last fight. And I was talking to my brother and my cousin before we started the recording. Like I said, sometimes we get going with these good topics and then we forget to hit record. And we're talking about Anderson Silva and how much he he did to the sport and how much like why he's not really mentioning the GOAT talk and stuff like that. So I know Tyrone, I know you're like getting new to MMA because you're more of a boxing guy. But from what you can remember about Anderson Silva, how do you feel about this fight tonight?
Well, I hope all's well. He's healthy at the end. I gotta Fundamentally, I hope he wins. Although he's a big underdog, he's as a casual fan, I know who he is. I know his name. Unfortunately, the first time I ever saw him fight was the fight he broke his leg. So I really didn't like that. Was like you know how it is with first impressions. I was kind of like ooh, but I kind of turned away from MMA to be honest with you when I saw that because I'm like, this is what happens in MMA. I don't want to see gruesome injuries like that. You see it every now and then in basketball, and to see it in a sport like that, I kind of turned away from MMA for a while up until recently because of that fight. But I've always known his name. I know he has a record for like the most consecutive victories in UFC at any weight class. So I think he
Yeah.
should be in that Mount. He should be in that Mount Rushmore. Like if there's a Mount Rushmore, he definitely should be on it because that right there, that's a record in a combat sport like that. That's not like boxing where a lot of guys they pick certain fighters they want to fight, and you know something happens where a deal breaks off and they go fight a guy that's a lesser. In UFC, Dana White puts the best against the best. So for him to win 16 consecutive MMA matches, that is a feat that's even better than having an undefeated record in your career in MMA. That's just extremely hard. So that alone should put him on at least on the Mount Rushmore. Maybe not GOAT. I mean, you got John Jones, you got Khabib. They probably got the sexier records, so that's probably why they are more mentioned than him. But if you're going to put a Mount Rushmore, you're putting four of the best or the top five, he definitely has to be on it. And that's just a casual fan looking at his reputation and his numbers.
Yeah. So Malik?
Well, yeah. I mean, I talked about it a little bit on a previous podcast, but the same fight that Tom was talking about against Weidman. So, you know, Anderson, when I first got into MMA, Anderson was that guy. He was the one going on his tear. He was the one, you know, knocking people out, pulling matrix moves, doing all types of craziness. He just had this aura, this thing about him, and he really was a champion's champion. He had that run of 16 victories, like 10 title defenses. He was the champ from like 2006 to like 2013. He
Wow.
really went out there. He fought different types of people. And even before the Weidman fight, he had that fight with Chael where Chael was that wrestler that everybody felt would be his demise. And even though Chael was kind of winning that fight, he had that championship mindset and, pulled
They
out the submission late in the fight and,
they was just
got that. Yeah, go
sorry
ahead.
to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off, but when you brought that up, like I'm watching the event right now and they showed like the highlights to that. So when you brought
Yeah.
that up, it reminded me of the highlights I just saw.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
go ahead.
watching that fight, that
Yeah.
was one of those moments where I was watching it like, damn, my guy, he's still in it, but he gotta win this, and then seeing him pull that out, man, that was one of those moments. So I had several of those moments with Anderson, and like I said, when I first really got into MMA, he was that guy that I looked to. But before John Jones, before you know some of the other guys like Israel and, you know, a bunch of other people. You know, Anderson was that guy. And as you were talking about with kind of the GOATs and like great and Mount Rushmore and things like that, you know, up until this recent tail end of his career, most people did have him up there. Most people had it where it would be out of, you know, Anderson, John Jones, and then some people would throw GSP in the mix, or, you know, and some people would also throw, you know, Jose Aldo before he, you know, lost and stuff in the mix too. But you know, Anderson has had one of the greatest careers. You know, he has that legacy. You know, I unfortunately, you know, he did kind of hang around a little too long. And you know, but even afterward, you know, even though he has some losses, you know, it's been stuff like, you know, he in two fights, you know, in the second Weidman fight, he broke his leg. Then when he fought Jared, you know, he hurt his leg as well, or his knee, you know, and then, you know, he had that fight with Nick Diaz where he won, but then it was overturned as a no contest. So Anderson is just one of those guys. He'll always be remembered, a pioneer in the sport. You know, even guys like Izzy and a lot of the other up and coming people, they were inspired by him or looked to him. So his legacy is even shown in that way. So as far as the fight tonight, you know, that for what he's meant to me and as far as MMA is concerned, etc., you know, I would like to see him win, you know,
Mm-hmm.
go out with a win, or at worst, you know, have one of those classic Anderson performances where it's an exciting fight and he, you know, he could go out respectable or go out on the shield, something like that. I don't want there to be no freak accident, no injury, no, you know, he get washed and knocked out, you know, in like a short amount of time. The other side to that, though, is like the guy he is fighting, Uriah Hall. I was talking to Michael about it a little bit too. I do like him, and you know he still has some life in him as far as the division. You know, he has had a few wins to try to like move himself back into the mix. So it would be kind of unfortunate to see him lose and be set back. But at the same time, you know, like I said, Anderson was that guy, that first person that really, you know, inspired me as far as MMA is concerned. So I would like to see him, you know, go out, you know, on top, and more power to him. And like I said, I just hope it's an exciting fight and, you know, he's not hurt. He can go out, you know, in a way that's fitting for him.
Yeah, I agree. And like to Malik's point, like, you know what I mean? Like we've been watching MMA for a long time. When UFC was considered like kind of like, you know, I think when Dana
More
White
niche
first,
and stuff. Yeah.
exactly, when Dana White first got the joint, it was on Spike TV, and even before that,
Yeah,
he kept
exactly.
some of the fights and stuff like that. And even at the beginning, to your point, Tyrone, I remember one time I see a guy get kneed and his tooth fly out, and I was like, oh, I feel a little squeamish and seeing people get kicked in the head. But after a while, you get kind of desensitized, and then after, especially since I train in Muay Thai and stuff like that, you kind of understand the game a little bit more, so you understand it's not that bad. But to Malik's point, like he said, like Anderson was that dude. There's a lot of guys who fought in Pride, and this is overseas in Japan, and then K1 kickboxing and different things like that. And Anderson Silva was that guy over there in Pride. So a lot of these guys used to fight each other. It wasn't really like a whole restriction with weight classes. They used to do different tournaments where they fight maybe twice in a night. Like he fought over there, Quentin Rampage Jackson, Wanderlei Silva, you know, Vitor Belfort. A lot of guys fought over there because that was a big thing in Japan, and that's how they got paid. So when he came over here, you know, everybody's like, oh, Anderson Silva, he fought Chris Lieben. He washed him when he first got in there. He fought this guy. He used to be a math teacher who was a champion in the middleweight division, Rick Franklin, and
Franklin, yeah.
he beat him up bad. And then from that point, once he beat him, he was washing everybody. And I'm talking about Anderson Silva was going in there making people look silly. I'm talking about video games movie. You ever watch this highlight when he fought Forrest Griffin and he was doing crazy stuff and beat him to the point that people felt that he didn't even hit him, like they thought he threw the fight. But then when you watch in the slow motion, how he was connected, his accuracy, his pinpoint accuracy, his skill set, like he was just a fighter's fighter. And like we said, he was the GOAT at the time. He didn't lose. He hadn't lost in like maybe like mad years. They were saying like almost 10 years or something like that. And then, you know, he was supposed to fight big fights, and you know, he did have a volatile relationship with Dana White because, you know, Dana White used to get mad at him for like either finishing fights so fast or people wasn't being as entertaining in his fights because they're like, oh, Anderson Silva gonna watch them, and they wanted him to do something crazy every time, and he was just getting kind of like, you know, to the point where he kind of maybe was getting a little bit bored with some of the competition and try different things. And when he was pissed and he came out
Wait,
and he dominated. Sorry?
let me get this straight. He was upset that he was beating guys too fast.
What happened was that when you had like Anderson Silva pay-per-view, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he might go out there and watch somebody, and people might say, I don't want to either pay for that pay-per-view, but he gonna watch this guy. So the competition was not even on his level like that. So what happened was, I think when he fought Damian Maia, this is one of the turning points. He fought Damian Maia in Abu Dhabi, and he beat him. But the way he beat him, it went the distance, and he wasn't like really engaging. He was just doing like tricky plays and like tricky moves, just kind of messing around with Damian Maia. He
Yeah,
wasn't
because
worried about him, just knocking him out.
Damian Maia is one of the just for reference of time, like one of the best like
Jiu-jitsu guy.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys ever, like
Yeah.
above black belt, like red stripe, like he is. So he's like a ridiculous jiu-jitsu guy. So Anderson wasn't going to play into that. So he did fight him a little more
conservative,
cautiously, conservative or whatever.
but still did, like, because
But
that
he
was
still,
like, he still watched them, and he was like, he was more so like, like the typical stand-up guy versus a striker versus a wrestler. But what happened was Dana White was so pissed of the performance that he decided, because Anderson Silva used to fight in 205 and 185. Some of the fights he didn't fight for a belt in 205, but he used to go up and down to fight like special fights, and he fought Forrest Griffin at 205 because they figured, we're gonna make him fight. Forrest Griffin's the type of guy gonna make him fight, and he beat the brakes off Forrest Griffin, made him look like an amateur. And after that, then he did that front kick to Vitor, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I never seen that! Like, who would have thought to do that?" And after he did it, mad people started doing it. It's like, to me, it's like he helped revolutionize the game. And like Melik said, he had kind of like inspired people like Israel Adesanya, even the guy he's fighting tonight. You know what I mean? Uriah Hall. Like, he inspired the guy. Inspired them to see like this skinny black guy, they would say, coming in dominating all these people, and the way he fought. Now, the bad thing about him, like when he got knocked out by Weidman, that kind of hurt me because, I was rooting for him to always win, and he could have won that fight, but he was, he got caught slipping, and he got caught, and then he broke his leg, and then he had a series of fortunate events where like he came back from the broken leg, he won his fight, he got popped for steroids because I guess something happened. He said he's taking Cialis or something like that. Then after that, he fought again, and then he got hurt in his knee, and then he fought all this other stuff like that. He's losing his fights, and he's at the age now. He's 45, and it's like, look, man, you rode your course out, and Dana White's type of guy, like, look, man, you did what you did. You were great to the sport. Don't ruin your legacy now, but just having people fight you for a name. Like, I beat Anderson Silva, and then I'll be like, y'all can put on my resume, I beat Anderson Silva. Did I beat the GOAT Anderson Silva, or did I beat the washed up Anderson Silva? So he wants him to leave. But like Melik said, I do like Uriah Hall. His problem, and I met him once, and I didn't meet him, but I see he lives in New York, and I seen him in my neighborhood one time. And I guess he figured I knew who he was, because he kind of stopped to look back. But I was like, all right, and I kept walking. I guess he's hurt. I asked for an autograph or something, but his issue is like Uriah Hall is that he's a good fighter, but there's some people who just sick with it, but they're not really fully there. And I think with him is that he had the momentum going when he came to the Ultimate Fighter. He was like doing like reverse spinning kicks and doing his crazy stuff, and Dana White loved him. But then like he kept like, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and like not being a sustainable person, that his momentum is not being catapulted that it should. You know what I'm saying? And he needs to really. So it's a part of me that feel from it, because if we get washed by Anderson tonight, he probably liable to be headed to Bellator, or maybe like right back at the bottom of the barrel of the 185 division. But if you go in there, he dominate Anderson, who he might get like another guy, a top guy, because he actually was putting the great beats on the guy that Israel fought the other day, but then he got washed. So it's a kind of a catch-22, and it's kind of sad to see. But I do hope Anderson kind of goes out on top, or if it goes like a really close fight, and like he could kind of like go like a draw or something like that if they don't want to do it that way. But to Melik's point, I don't want him to get no severe injury. I don't want him to get knocked out like crazy. I don't want nothing like that to happen. I want him to go out and do his thing. As far as the GOAT talk, now that I like John Jones, because before, like I was telling like earlier, I was never really a John Jones fan, but like that. But you gotta put him up there, Anderson up there. GSP to me, I think people giving them that kind of like GOAT status, but I wasn't really impressed with his reign. And he died.
That's not the first. No, I was gonna say that's not the first time I heard you say that you wasn't impressed with him.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's not a bad fighter. He's good.
Because I've never seen him, so I'll take y'all words for it. But I've heard you say before that he's not all what they make him out to be.
Yeah,
I mean, you might have got a little taste if you saw one of them Captain America movies. He was in it, so he was.
Yeah,
he was backdrop. Now he was
America.
Really in it though. So
he was. He fought Captain America in the second one, the Captain Winter Soldier. He fought him in the beginning.
Yeah.
And honestly, look, GSP is not a bad fighter. And, you know, he had a lot of quotable stuff. I'm not impressed with your performance and all that kind of stuff like that. The problem with GSP was a safe fighter. He was a guy that he would do, like, you know, he'll learn from other people. He'll do a jab. He'll do, like, the basic stuff. He's very good at mixing it up. But he would just dominate you by wrestling you and smothering you, sometimes not submitting you. So a lot of the fights will just be like 5 rounds of him on you on the ground, ground and pound. That's pretty much it. Whereas, like, other fighters try to finish. Like, you look at John Jones, a lot of his fights were finishes or pure dominance. You know what I'm saying? Some other fighters the same way, where with like Khabib, like submissions and pure dominance and smothering. It wasn't like to say that, oh, he was just like humping you the whole time. But people put GSP on this platform because he was like he had a Gatorade commercial and he was like the poster boy, the squeaky clean white guy from Canada who, you know, can kind of help catapult the UFC. And he didn't fight, to me. He was offered the fight like a freaking super fight with Anderson Silva. He didn't want that smoke, and he never fought him. You know what I'm saying? And then he wanted to fight for the 185 belt when Michael Bisping was the champ. And no disrespect to Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping has one eye, and he got that belt off the strength of, like, you know, freaking Luke Rockhold being an idiot. So there's just a lot of stuff going on, but I don't want to, you know, ramble on that. But hopefully he wins. But speaking of fights, okay, you all know, and then this is a better topic for you too, Tyrone, that Roy Jones,
already know where you're going.
and Mike Tyson will be fighting soon. They had a press conference the other day. They should be fighting, I think, this month, next November coming up. I think the 12th or something like that. And I know we kind of gave like a pseudo predictions, but I just want to see how you feel now that the fight is getting closer and Mike Tyson looking in better shape and Roy as well. Like, how do you feel about the fight now, Tyrone?
Listen, man. Roy Jones Jr. is my favorite boxer of all time. Mike Tyson is more than likely either second or third. It's out of him, Mayweather, and Roy Jones. And like I was saying before, Mike Tyson's been out of the game since 2005, and Roy Jones, even though he was fighting lesser opponents and he wasn't the same fighter he was in his prime, he was still a little active. Now, depending on how serious they take it, it could just be a Roy Jones night. I think Roy Jones will just take it to the distance and he'll probably win. Or you never know. It's nice. It's fine when you're watching guys spar but when you're in there with a real fighter that's really trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, which is win, you really don't know. A lot of people are looking, you know, Mike Tyson. We know Mike Tyson is probably the most vicious and brutal champion. You know, his line that he had, that rant, he was like, I'm the most brutal and vicious and ruthless champion there's ever been. He is that.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Like, one thing about Mike, he always trained hard, but sometimes he can, especially in his later days, he fell off. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to go the distance. They're going to give a winner. I think it'll be Roy because of the experience, and Roy's not going to sit there and trade with him. Mike Tyson will be 70 years old. You're still not going to want to take a punch from him. So I don't think he's going to stand there with him. And I think Roy will probably eke out the unanimous decision or whatever. I don't even know how many rounds it is, to be honest with you. I'm talking about unanimous.
I think it's like 10 2-minute rounds. I don't remember.
10 2-minute. Oh yeah, Roy could run around the whole fight and take that. But Mike.
Run around.
Listen, man. Hey, they can move, baby. That's all it is. They can move. I just don't want Mike to hurt him. That's all. I just don't want Mike to hurt him. I love Mike, but Roy's my number one guy. So
I got you.
You know, that's how I feel on it.
Yeah. Melanie?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I know recently they've been both saying things like, as much as it's supposed to be an exhibition, they've been saying stuff like, yeah, we gonna come to fight. We gonna fight. If
But
we
yeah,
gotta bite, we gonna bite. If
they gotta sell the
we
fight,
trying to
man.
hurt each other, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like I know
Like
they
I'm not
selling
gonna sit there. Yeah. It's not like
it.
It's not like if me and you are fighting. I'm like, you know, I
We're
love
gonna
him.
dance around. We're gonna
We're just gonna dance around for
light
12 rounds.
spar. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I gotta sell the fight. So I gotta say, yeah, I'm coming here to knock his head off. You know.
Yeah. So
Go
similar
ahead.
note to what we talked about before. So like if let's say Tyson just like a switch goes off and that animal come out by accident, you know, I could see him winning by maybe knocking Roy down or knocking him out. But I do feel if it goes the distance and is a true kind of exhibition sparring
Yeah.
kind of situation, I could see Roy Jones getting it by just, you know,
Yeah, decision.
going to the scorecards, you know, just kind of like outboxing him or like,
Yeah.
you know, picking his spots and this and that like that. I could see Roy Jones getting it, but you know, Tyson is the traditionally bigger guy, and we all know that power he got. Even if it ain't like before, he still got a lot of it. So, because it is more of an exhibition, I
Yeah.
would lean toward Roy. But like I said, if Tyson just you know he get hit and then a switch go off and that animal come out, and
Yeah.
it'll be a news story. They'll be talking about it in a different way. I don't know. So I mean, and not for nothing, I'll say Mike still got a shot. You know, even but like I said, if it's gonna be more that way, I would lean toward Roy.
Yeah.
But I never count Mike out.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, like to Tom's point, like Mike Tyson, I would have to say, you know, outside of like, you know, Ali and I do like Floyd and stuff like that and Roy, but Mike Tyson has been my favorite fighter, favorite boxer forever. And my thing with Mike Tyson, I feel that yes, it's an exhibition, but I don't think he's gonna be like, you know, going in there to play. Like I think Mike is going in there to fight, and because his mentality is different. I was watching some training videos when he was like 15 fighting, right? The cat was knocking out adults. Like this cat was like, they had to get like older dudes to fight him because he was washing everybody. And I'm not trying to say Roy is no slouch. Roy is not a slouch. Roy is dope. And I was talking to my doorman in my building the other day. He just mentioned it to me like, "Who you think? You know, I'm going with Mike. You know, Mike, man. If he hits you, man, it's over." And I think Roy is still skilled, but you know, Roy's skill back in the day was predicated on that speed and that head movement that he had, and that kind of like, you know, okey doke movement where he wasn't a traditional boxer where he had his hands up all the time and doing different things like that. Well, Mike is like the traditional peekaboo style type of guy, very explosive and different things like that. Now, granted, they both in their 50s, so the explosion and the speed is not going to be the same. But I do still think they got power and they got their skills, so it should be an entertaining fight. But I listened to some of the clips when they was, you know, interviewing like Ariel Helwani was doing like the interview for the fight, and Mike Tyson was talking. He was like, you know what? He's actually like, how do you feel about the training? Like, yo, I'm the boss. If you come in here and you're not willing to kick my A, you're fired, right? He was like, yo, if you're not coming in here to really hurt me and try to fight me to help me with my training, you're fired. I need it. You can't be doing this. And he said another thing. And Roy Jones is sitting there answering that, no one question. And Mike sounds like, yo, we both in here. We come in here to show everybody that we can still do it better than the young boys. They check this out and they see that we even healthier than them guys. We can do it, right? And I was like, that's cool. And then he said, you know, I'm here to come and have put on a great show, a great fight, and disable my opponent. And I can see that what? Like disable my opponent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, Mike Tyson, like he used to always say, right? He stopped training back in the day when he got mad fat because he said the ego in him will make him like, yo, like really vicious and like want to kill somebody. Like he said his best fight one time, I think he said he smoked like a blunt. He's talking to Joe Rogan podcast. He smoked weed before a fight, right? And the I guess the commission didn't notice it. And he said he made sure his gloves, you know how you like to put the knuckles in the gloves. And he said, yo,
Yeah, I already know. Yeah, he used to
he
punch
washed that dude so
wall.
bad. He broke that dude. I'm talking about orbital bones, everything. He said that was the best he felt. He was so relaxed. He was like, whatever. And he's Mike Tyson type person that he want to like kill you for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in his mind, he want to destroy you. Like when I watch him in those sparring when he was like a kid, he was trying to kill everything he hit. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I can see Roy Jones being like an exhibitionist because I watched him when he went on that Jocks versus like pros versus Joes, and he fought like guys who think they can go against a pro athlete, and he was washing the athlete, you know, the like the little Joes, and he was like, you know, peppering them, the Roy Jones, just like when he's like in still some in his 30s, you know, maybe early 40s when that show came on, and he was having fun. But Mike Tyson can't do that. Mike Tyson only know one speed. And I think that he might go in there playing around pity patter.
Yeah.
If he got to chase Roy too much, he gonna get mad. If Roy hit him with a little bit too much, he gonna get mad, and then it's gonna be a real fight. So I think that they initially thought it was gonna be like an exhibition, but they're gonna be fighting, bro.
Yo, y'all ain't gonna be dissing my man Roy like this. So he gonna get knocked out. Son.
Nah, I ain't saying. I love Roy too.
I know, Malik. I know, but I know he's been knocked out a lot, you know, past his prime. But y'all ain't gonna be talking about Roy like this. I sat around too long letting y'all get y'all opinions out, but y'all ain't gonna be getting on my boy Roy like this.
Oh man, I like
Roy. telling me about his videos and all this. He coming to kill. Like, yo, my boy Roy put in work too, man.
No, I'm not
getting on Roy like that, son.
Even Roy, you
ain't getting on. I ain't gonna be dissing Roy like that.
Exactly. Even Roy said this. Roy said the same thing.
I love Mike though. I love Mike. Yeah. I'm so happy that you guys like together. Like he's one of those athletes that you root for. Like one of those human beings like him, a DMX. You know, guys like them, guys that have pain through their whole lives, and then they just found peace later on in their life.
Yeah,
so
man,
you know,
found peace. It's a good thing.
So I'm always gonna love Mike, but you know, when it comes to that boxing though, man, I gotta always root for my man Roy first.
You know, it's funny when you mentioned
that's all I was gonna say.
No. It's funny you mentioned. I'm trying to get Roy right now.
So where he training? So my man training too.
No, I'm not saying Roy. I say like you know Roy, right? Because you know, like they said, they all found that purpose. You know, Roy is like he really pushing God and stuff like that, which I do appreciate from Roy Jones, even Mike to a certain extent. But what I was going to say, when I was watching an interview, like a clip from Joe Rogan's podcast with Roy Jones Jr., he was like, yo, man, like when they first offered me to fight in September, I said, yeah. But he said, I think Mike and them realized that, look, because he said, I was always in the gym. Mike hasn't. He said, yo, they realized, like, yo, he said that would be easy money for me. Like, I would have came in there. I'm already in the flow of things.
That's what I'm saying.
He's trying to say, Roy said, I think Mike and them realized that, look, he was too quick. He was too quick to say, yes, he's ready. I need more time. So that's why they pushed it back to November, to give Mike more time to get conditioned, to get ready and stuff like that. Because, like, even though they said, like, Mike said he sparred, like, for, like, 3 minutes or something like that, he was in the bed for a week because he said he was so because he hadn't done any job. And I think that now that he got the consistency and been training like how he used to train, it's good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why this fight will be a little bit better for the fans, because now just forget about the celebrity ones like Nate Robinson fighting that Jake Paul or whatever he fighting in the undercard.
Yeah, YouTuber,
right? Yeah, YouTuber guy. You get to see Mike really like.
Is that YouTuber that Deontay Wilder beat up that one time?
No.
Is it?
I know you're talking about. Is a guy Deontay Wilder beat up in a home gym. His name was something. He's like a YouTube. He's like a boxer troll. He's like a guy like
right.
Not his name, but he kind of like off a little bit. But what he will do, like he'll say some stuff, and he'll go to like.
Yeah, I know the guy. No, you don't gotta describe the guy. I'm breaking it down for. I just never knew his name.
No. I'm breaking it down for the people who listening, and also for like this kid like to know like it's a guy. I think his name is Charlie something. And what happened is that he'll go to different gyms, and like you know how people be sparring, and you always got that one guy who go too hard, right? So he will spar with people and really try to go ham and try to like beat him up and knock him out.
Yeah, he beat up Floyd. He sucker punched Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Exactly, as Floyd Mayweather's father, and then the whole gym was watching because Floyd Mayweather
it was gonna whoop him.
Was watching him, and then he turned his back and then he sucker punched him, and then
he sucker punched. But he does that on purpose. He just like getting beat up because he always pick on Wilder. And then, I remember one time he was beating up. Wilder was beating him up. He was like, "Yo, at least I got a hit off of you, though. At least I got a hit off of you." Like he was bragging about getting one hit.
Right. Wilder was toying when honestly, Wilder came to the gym where he was at because he was talking crazy on Wilder's phone. Then he said, "Called him
he was."
And then after that, he said something about his daughter. And then when he said something about his daughter, Wilder showed up. When I tell you Wilder was knocking him out, Wilder knocked him down.
I remember that.
Chased him to the bathroom, right? His boys had to hold him back. Wilder said, "Don't you ever say nothing like that again. I'm talking about he was in there. He just came in street clothes and washed this dude.
Wilder would have killed him, man.
Yeah. So like, how you gonna do the Tyson Fury when they fight again? Hopefully. But anyway, my thing is that look, man, this fight should be good. I'm gonna try to see if I can watch it on Thriller or get the link to watch it and see what's gonna happen. I just hope, like Malik said about the earlier fights today, I just hope that they both, Roy and Mike, stay healthy. Nobody get any injuries. They can walk away smiling, get their money, and I think they donate most of it to charity, whatever they're gonna do with it, and just
Yeah,
enjoy the experience of fighting again and
and
boxing.
stay out of the ring. I don't want to see them again.
So
I don't want to
we'll
see
see
them
what
again
happens.
in the ring.
Yeah, but changing pace, we're gonna talk about the NBA stuff. Now, as we all know, the NBA season maybe like a couple of weeks removed from finalizing. The Lakers have their championship, according to Pat Riley. That's going to be an asterisk, you know,
Because of
I,
the
championship
Miami's injuries or
I,
whatever.
because of
I
injuries. And not only
wouldn't.
that, the bubble situation
I got a
too.
response to that when you finish.
Yeah. So, but the main thing we want to talk about is this, and this is to me what bothers me. And I know I'm not in the players' shoes. They proposed a 72 game season. At first, I was like, "What's the difference? It's 72," but I forgot. No, it's an 82 game season because I was just not paying attention. I just saw the number 72 and I thought about the Bulls joint. But at the end of the day, 72 game season, right? And it's supposed to start in December. Now, according to some of the people on the Lakers, like Danny Green and different things, like some of the star players, like LeBron, if he said if this starts then, he's not going to play for a month. To me, it's like me telling my job, yo, I'm not coming in, man. You know what I'm saying? It's too close. And I get it. This is not the typical thing. I get what you're trying to do, but the show has to go on. You are a star player. You just won a championship. You're going to tell the league that you're not going to play. I think that's a sucker move. I think that, yes, I understand you've been playing a lot of basketball, but you do got like a month and a half off, 2 months to stop, to relax. You know what I mean? You don't got to go ham the first couple of games in the season. But at the end of the day, show up and play. For him to say that to me, and I know the other players going to jump on the bandwagon, I think is ridiculous. And I think that they don't understand what they're really saying and how they can hurt themselves in the future. I want to get you guys' opinion on that.
Well, yeah. So one thing I'd say is, like you said, I do get it that they sacrificed a lot to go into the bubble. They were away from their families for a long time, and they played, you know, consistently at a time they're not usually used to playing, right? But I would also say they had like 4 months off before that. So they didn't have the
Thanks.
full consecutive season like normal.
Exactly.
One. Two, right? It still is like, it's like, all right, it's a little shorter than, yes, the typical off season, but it's still a decent amount of time, right? Also, they got to understand that I know this is the main reason. It's business reasons and purposes. They want their money, right? I know they want their money, right? All these TV networks and other people, they hurt a lot this past year because there was less games. Then the owners and stuff too, even though I know they're gonna have to figure out what they're doing as far as the arenas and if they're gonna do regional bubbles or whatever they're gonna do. I don't know if they decided that yet or not, but the owners want to try to recoup some
Yeah.
in some way as well. And there's also, you got to try to get back to as close to normal. Like for me, I want there to be as much consistency as possible throughout all the seasons and years. So if you're gonna do like, all right, we look at records. Like, what if a team go, 71-1? You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't 73-9. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
it's like you want to be able to compare stuff too. And obviously, there's bigger things than that, but the business thing is a big thing. And they did have a good 4 months off in the middle of the other season, so it's not like they were playing straight through. And at the end of the day, if they want to do that, maybe then your team might start out, you know, not winning as much games. You might have a higher, thing to climb. But I don't think the league is being unreasonable. The league has worked with the players a lot, sacrificed a lot, and they have really been working with the players to try and, one, push some of the issues they want. two, they worked tirelessly and hard to have the bubble happen in the first place, and it worked. I know the players had some input as well on that process, but the league was really listening to them a lot. And you see, they had a successful season, no
Yeah.
positive cases of COVID, so you got to give a little too sometimes. Like, look, yeah, it might not be ideal for you, but you got to look at it and understand it too. Plus, if it ends too late, it's going to bleed into the Olympics. So
Yeah.
they can't afford to start it too much later, or then they're going to have to cut the games even more. And then that's going to hurt the business and their money, the owner's money, the network's money, this, that, and the third. So I understand a little bit how, because like you said, I'm not them. We didn't have to go through it in a certain space, but sometimes there's players who play in the Olympics and have a shorter, like about the same amount of turnover before the season. So, I mean, I think that it should happen. Like I said, I can understand a little bit, but I think, everybody is sacrificing, everybody is giving something for the
Yeah.
greater cause, and I
Good.
think the players should be able to do that.
Yeah. Tyron, go ahead. And I think that honestly, if LeBron decides to do that, I think they should fine him. And I'm not trying to be grimy like that, but I'm just saying, like, look, man, like you said, there's many times where, like, even when Michael Jordan and them won the championship, played into June and then went into the Olympics and played in the Olympics and had to play the next season. It's like, to me, I miss that old mentality. I'm not trying to say that, in America, sports are big. We put sports at a bigger pedestal than a lot of other countries, right? But that's like a pastime to help people with the everyday life, right? So I don't want it to seem that I'm coming from like a biased standpoint where I'm just talking about, give me my sports, basketball. No, it's like, look, man, you playing ball, all right? Yes, you was in a bubble, yes, but like you said, they were good. They were not playing for 4 months, okay? You came back, you played, you won your championship. Now you're talking about, oh, I'm not gonna play the first month. That to me is a slap in the face. You got to understand. Like, now, granted, LeBron got bread. Okay, LeBron probably made almost close to $1 billion in his career. He might not be net worth that, but he probably made that kind of money, right? The man got money, so it's okay for him to be like, "Yo, I ain't playing the first month." But other players and other people who haven't been playing, they have to play, and the league has to go on. You cannot hold the league hostage by doing that. So to me, it's like you're being unfair. It's like, look, yes, we all have to make sacrifices. And I understand it's a little bit different because you got the owner. Sometimes you're acting ignorant and stuff like that. And we don't know how this coronavirus thing going to play out. If there's going to be another bubble, maybe like you said, regional bubbles where all the East teams will maybe go to 3 locations to play. Same thing with the West team and try to like mitigate the things until they can figure out a way to keep everybody safe, right? But at the end of the day, to say that you're not going to play, and other players like Danny Green, they have the audacity to say that like you guys are like some like untouchable crazy team. To me, I think that's kind of ignorant, and I hope that was just something that was just said in the sense of not really looking at it and thinking, or just some like just being like prima donnas. But that's ignorant.
I don't,
Right.
yeah, and
Go
even
ahead.
if, yeah, I was just
No,
gonna say real quick. So
yeah,
even if, all right, so let's say you concerned because maybe it's like LeBron probably feel, Father Time is undefeated, even though he has been defying it some.
yeah,
That all right, I don't want to put myself through too much. Even if that, like, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but maybe load manage a little bit in between, like play some of the game. Don't just be like, I'm not showing up for like a month. You know what I'm saying? Like that way you
yeah.
still getting some reps. You can make sure it's like if it's a televised game on national TV or something, try to show up for those something. Like I said, I don't even think that should be done. But if you concerned in a certain way, maybe even do something like that as opposed to being like, nah, this is going to be this whole block of time where I'm just not going to show up. I mean, that's my feelings on it too. I just wanted to add that where it's like, look, even if unless you want to say you're concerned about injuries or some other kind of thing, then, you know, maybe at least load manage or do something as opposed to just being like, I'm just not going to be there and show up
Yeah. Ask
for the
Kawhi
first
how he
month
do
or
it,
something
bro.
like
Ask
that.
him, man. Ask
Right?
Kawhi.
You know what I'm saying?
My bad. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Nah, it's all good. That Danny Green thing with this. Now, I'm not a LeBron fan like that. I don't. Like, I'm not a big fan of LeBron, and I'm pretty sure anybody that knows me knows that. I respect him, but I'm gonna take his side a little bit on this with when it comes to the whole sitting out thing, and it's not the taking side that you think. What I'm taking his side on is I never heard him say that. I think everybody went crazy, and it was Danny Green saying he thinks that a lot of the veterans, including, and he called LeBron's name. Now, he might know something we don't know, but it wasn't said by LeBron, so I can't really get on LeBron. It came out of Danny Green's mouth. That's why I said I'm going to defend him a little bit, because it didn't come out of his mouth. Now, do I believe he would do that? Yes. I think LeBron would do that. He likes that. Like, everybody gets on the Kawhi with low management, but LeBron was doing that like 5-6 years ago, especially when he went back to Cleveland. I remember he took 2 weeks off just to go to Miami for no reason. They claimed ankle injury, and the man took 2 weeks off during the December or January in the season. Literally in the middle of the season, just took 2 weeks off. So,
yeah.
Do I believe he'd take a month off? Do I believe he would take a month off? Yeah, he would. I believe it. Do I think it's right? Hell no. You get paid top dollar to play this game. You think that, listen, you think I could go at my job and tell them, I need to take a month off. I just worked 10 months straight, and I only got a 2-week vacation. Can I come back a month later? Can I get more vacation time? No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. Get paid millions of dollars to run up and down the court for 2 hours. You get paid endorsement money. You get paid sneaker deals, this, that, and the third. And to say, okay, yes, you played in a bubble. You had 4 months off, as Menelik said. You had 4 months off. You played, early, end of July till about October. So that's about a good 2.5 months, close to 3 months off. I mean, playing.
Yeah.
So, they played tough, intense playoff games. So I understand from the Lakers and the Miami Heat perspective, like I could see from them complaining. But you got to remember, it's 30 teams in the NBA, not 2. Let's not forget, there are teams that have not played since March. That is unprecedented. There's teams that have not played since March. You can't expect them to play a full season by taking another month off. I get it, but this is what you signed up for. You wanted to play in this bubble instead of canceling the season and just because right now we would be in the first 3 or 4 games of the new season had they either canceled the bubble or if there was no pandemic. We'd be in the new season right now. So you guys lobbied for this bubble. You played in it. You knew what the circumstances were going to be because at the end of the day, they're going to get back to the regular October start. So they offered 72 games. They knocked off 10 games already. It starts in December. They also, what is not talked about, and I saw this proposal from Adrian Wojnarowski, I never say his name right, but what I saw from Woj was in the middle of the season, there was going to be a 2-week break. Now, I understand 2 weeks is not 2 months. You don't get but you're getting a 2-week break. And then they resume the season, and they were talking about like possible playing games. So where's the complaint of they knock off 10 games, and they're going to give you a 2-week off for like an All-Star break kind of thing. You already get a week off in the All-Star break. Back in the day, you only got about 4 days. But y'all lobby for a week off, you got it. Now they're offering a 2-week off thing. The season will end in July because no matter what the NBA does, they cannot interrupt the Olympics. The Olympics is a worldwide sport, so they will lose a lot of money if they made their league go past the Olympics. So they have to do that. Not just for USA basketball. That doesn't even got nothing to do with it. It's that the Olympics is above them. And there's hundreds of countries. You're not gonna ruin that by playing NBA finals. This is not like Major League Baseball where they play in the summer during the Olympics because there's no summer there's no baseball in the winter, so they play in the summer. But you're not going to do that. And also, I heard they want to start Martin Luther King Day. I guess because Martin Luther King was a great leader of civil rights and everything. I get that, but if you ask me, I think they should not even play on Martin Luther King's Day. I think they should have a special on ESPN or whatever channel and just talk about everything that's been going on with Black Lives. And I think they should take that day and come up with something like that, a special on all the NBA players. All the NBA players come together and just talk about, give credit to the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, and all these great leaders, and then bring up the fight for civil rights and the things that's been going on the past year with like unarmed Black people being shot and everything. Use that day to do that, not start the season. I get it. Everybody wants to go back to normal and this and that and third. But I also heard too, if the NBA started Martin Luther King Day instead of the proposed December 22nd, they can lose $1 billion for the entire season. They're not going for that.
Yeah, I can believe it. They lost so much already from this past.
They already lost. I think it was $500,000. I think it's $500,000, or it could be more than that. I'm not sure. I think it's close to $1 billion.
$100,000. That's nothing. They probably have $500 million.
No. I'm sorry. I said $500,000. $500 million. They lost about 500. I made a Thanks for correcting me there because I got it wrong. It's $500 million they lost. I think it's more than that actually, but they're not going to try to. They already lost money playing in this bubble because remember they had no revenue coming in with no fans. You're going to tell me that you want them to start because remember they got these TV contracts. They got to put something on the TVs, man, and they're going to lose money. These channels are going to pull their money back if you're not starting when you said you wanted to start. So not only are you going to lose that, you're losing the revenue that you can get in December. Now, Christmas is a traditional NBA day, so they're going to want games before Christmas. I think December 22nd is perfect. Remember, you can't make two teams the be-all, end-all. There's 30 teams in the league. I'm not going to sit there and hold back a league a month because two teams, well, I haven't heard no Miami Heat players say it, but according to Danny Green, veterans are going to sit out. That's not, listen, if you had a problem with that, they shouldn't have, if they had a problem with this date, they shouldn't have won the title. They should have walked out the bubble. You knew what you was getting. Listen, it was going to be a quick turn. And I brought this up to you guys when we first talked about the bubble and when they started. It's going to be a quick turnaround because they have to go back and adjust. Because that's the plan. They're trying to go to 72 and then start back next October. Like that's the plan, and they're going to stick to that plan. I don't think that the owners are going to go for that Martin Luther King stuff. They're not. They lost too much money during the bubble. They're not going to sit there and try to lose money again.
Honestly, I agree 100%. I'm not just saying that because I like basketball, but to me, they should be lucky because they were talking about turning it around in November. So that was even less than a month. And they said
they were.
They were going to do it in November. So my thing, that was and that's the thing that bothered me. They knew that going into the bubble that the tentative date was in November, right? But because they had that pause with the whole marching and the Bucks walking out and the playoffs last long, they said, we'll extend it. We'll just cut the season instead of having 82. We'll go down to 72. We'll keep certain things that we like and do this. My thing with this whole NBA thing, to me, veterans, yes, you're vets. The league is starting to become prima donnas, right? And I was looking at this video Yeah. So I was looking at this video where they was showing with it had like Shaq and how Shaq and Charles Barkley were going at each other, whatever. And Shaq was saying to Charles, you always be babying these players, blah blah blah. And I was like, sometimes he's kind of right because a lot of these players, don't get me wrong, they are talented individuals. They'll wash us, whatever. They're in the NBA. I'm not hitting on their skill set, and I'm happy that you got your money. Get your money. My problem is that when they start making these, It's a business at the end of the day, right? Like I work for my job, you work for y'all jobs, y'all work your jobs. We all have to make some level of sacrifice to do it. Now we're not as fortunate as them, and I hate to say it like that because I don't want people to think that we saying it off a fact that, oh, you just got so rich, let's just shut up and play basketball. We're not saying it like that. We're saying that,
Not
look,
at all.
you have to understand that if you want to keep your millions, you want to get these big contracts, you have to sacrifice. Because if you don't do it, the TV deals are not going to be sitting around because y'all don't want to play. ESPN is not going to be paying you guys money. TNT not going to be paying you guys money. ABC, they're not going to be paying you guys money to host your game if you're not going to play, right? You're in complete competition with other sports now, okay? Everybody else is figuring out how to continue to have these sports being played, right? You got the
and
MLB,
it's not,
NFL
and
playing in their own stadiums, okay? Yes, they got the COVID stuff here and there. They're playing, right? Y'all had the opportunity to have the momentum. Y'all did the bubble. Y'all were successful. We got a new champions, the LA Lakers, whatever. Y'all cannot talk about the vets going to sit out. And I hate when I hear players like that saying it because you have the sense of entitlement and you like putting people on notice. Like, first of all, Danny Green, no disrespect to you, but like, yo, man, you shouldn't be making those statements. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was legit or not, you shouldn't be saying that because now you're kind of making it out there. Because when you do things
he's
like that,
throwing them under the bus, and he's throwing them under the bus
exactly,
too, because you only hearing
and
him
also
say it.
talking up other people to start saying, "Yeah, I was in a bubble too.
And
We don't want to start then." No, y'all gotta play. Okay, y'all
I don't
ruining
think
it.
it's fair. I don't think it's fair to even put LeBron James' name out there. And like I said, I don't defend LeBron, but in this case, I have to because you haven't heard him say this.
Yeah, don't be
Now,
surprised.
don't get me, like I said already, I wouldn't put it wouldn't put it past me. I wouldn't put it past him to do it. But why would you put his name out there like that? Just say veteran. If he would have just said veteran, fine. Yeah. But you put his name out there, and I didn't think that was fair.
Yo, let me tell you something right now. Don't be surprised if Dan Green get traded after this, man.
Nah, not with that contract.
You know the LeBron, the GM. You're like, you know what? You talking crazy, Danny? You missed that shot in Game 5.
Nah, with that. That's all right. I love him though. He's a Tar Heel, so I love my Tar Heel. He just be bugging out. He just bugged out a little bit. He just bugged out.
They was talking about that. See, look, that's what I was trying to say with the whole GOATness when we talking about that. And I know we keep saying this, guys. We're gonna get into this talk, but
I'm already prepared.
Yeah,
we'll get that.
Mm-hmm. They were talking about that with LeBron, right? They said people getting mad at him. They felt he's too much involved with tech sports, too much involved with like picking and choosing the people and et cetera, right? And I'm saying, look, man, at the end of the day, right? I'm happy for him to start his own company, putting his people on. That's like one of the best.
I ain't mad at them for that. I ain't mad.
I'm not mad at him
for what they're doing. Hell no.
I'm not mad at him for that either. But the issue is that when you involve too much and you start like taking these stands, it's like a delicate balance. You have to balance it where it's like you making a stance and you help put people on, or you getting to a point where you coming like you complaining. I was having this conversation with one of my friends the other day, right? I was like, you know what? I used to hate when I used to see him like on the news or on TV. They'd be like, "Oh, you a celebrity, right? Before you go on your show in your green room, you're like, you know what? When I come here, I'll do the show. But when I come in my room has to be 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The tiles have to be mid-flex tiles. I need only green and red M&Ms with all the M. I need my water, you know what I mean? Ice cold at minus 100 degrees Celsius. You know, like stuff like that, right? Like to me, I always felt like, yo, you never did that when you was growing up, and now you acting ignorant for no reason. The M&M stays the same. You say I want green M&Ms in my locker room, in my dressing room, to cause all this, like make people pamper you and take care of you, right? It's getting to the point when LeBron, if that is true, and the other players like that are making it like that for the league, where it's like, oh, you got to do this for me, or I'm not doing it. It's like, no, it's a partnership. It's a business, right? If you want the bread, you got to play. That's just it. Now, LeBron should have said, you know what? If I was LeBron, I'd be like, you know what? All right, we start in the first game. I'll do some real thing, act like I rolled my ankle. I'm out 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You did it all the other times. Do it that way. But on his height, they got the championship, sipping a little bit of that joint, playing with his snakes that he liked to play him in Dwight Howard snakes talk. And he probably like, yeah, man. Heard LeBron say, yo, man, I ain't playing that first month. Yeah, man, the vets ain't playing. The vets are not playing. Like, yo, just shut up, man. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We all
Yeah.
know that the league's going to start that week. I just think the Lakers going to be a team, or some other teams going to be having guys not playing, and that's going to be make the issue. Other than that, it is what it is. But sticking with the NBA theme, because we can get close to wrapping this up. We got some new hires. You know what I mean? Mike D'Antoni, he is now an assistant coach for the Brooklyn Nets. I think we
Why
mentioned
we
that
gotta start with them, man?
But let's get to the real thing. We're going to talk about
Thank you.
Steven Silas being named a head coach finally, son of Paul Silas. You know, it's funny. I used to get Paul Silas and John Thompson confused because they look alike. So I used to be like, what? Whatever. But anyway, and
They
he's about to
kind of
get
do a little. They kind of
yeah,
do.
yeah. So that's how I used to get them mixed up. So he's the son of Paul Silas, and he's finally got a coaching job for the Houston Rockets. I think it's a good hire. Luka loves him. Luka said, he's the one who made him nicer. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be a good move for them. And you guys can speak on that too. I can throw that stuff out there. Go ahead.
No, I think Steven Silas deserves a shot. He was an assistant coach for a long time. I believe he had an interim spot in Charlotte when can't remember who was it. That I think it was Paul Silas, his father. I think he got fired and he took over as the interim coach. So he has a little coaching experience, but congratulations to him on his first real coaching job. Depending on what the roster looks like, we will never know. We don't know if they're going to rebuild or they're just going to just run it back again. But congratulations to him and all the best.
Yeah, man. Good,
yeah,
I really don't know because of the roster what they're gonna do because Maury's gone, so I don't really know what to even say.
I got you.
I thought Van Gundy would get the job, but obviously they went in a different direction.
Yeah. They might have offered it to Van Gundy, but I think Van Gundy probably looked at it like from a certain perspective. Like, I might have some other stuff he might wanted to do. And it's like, at this point now is like, what's the point to kind of like do that and, not get everything you want and let another person get the job and opportunity. And I'm happy for him. A lot of time, to Stephen A's point, he's glad that, somebody got an opportunity because I think like Steven Silas was like an assistant coach for 20 years of his life. He never got the deal, like, except for that time he was freaking interim coach. He never got a chance to coach. And a lot of players like him. So it's good to see. So hopefully, he's successful. I do agree with you, Tyron. I think the Houston Rockets are looking to make some moves as well as the 76ers, and that'll be something we'll talk about in the next few minutes after Malik says his piece. Well,
yeah, I was just going to say, congrats to him. He has been an assistant for a long time, and around, and for him to get a shot, it's always a good thing to see somebody put in the work and then, it pays off, and as you said before, Luka was making some strides. So if he had anything to do with that, then, some of them Houston players got, something to look forward to. But I mean, outside of that, I do wish him the best, and, I think he'll do a good job. And, I'm just looking forward to see what Houston does and what, players he has around him. And yeah, I'm just interested to see what they do because there's been a lot of shakeups over there in Houston.
Yeah, man. I mean, this time of year, usually around this time we'll see like trades and movement and stuff like that. Well, not even trades because the season been started already, but off season is coming up soon. And like, Daryl Morey, who was the GM for the Houston Rockets, he was let go or they came to a mutual agreement. But usually when they say that, that means the person got the boot or they was letting them know that the writing was on the wall. Rumor has it that, D'Antoni could have possibly stayed. They probably could have convinced the owner to keep him for another year since they made it where they did based on the injuries, but he always liked to vacate before he gets fired. So he decided to leave and he thought he had the job in the bag for Philly or somebody else. But one Philly and Philly like, wait, hold on, what? Doc Rivers just got fired?
Doc Rivers.
D'Antoni, don't bother going on the plane.
They called Doc. I heard that they called Doc Rivers or tried to call him 1 hour after the Clippers fired him. Yeah. You know he was getting the job once you heard that.
Yeah. So imagine D'Antoni like, hey, honey, I'm about to pack my bags. I'm going down to Philly to see an interview for this job. It'll be great to coach Embiid. And they're like, his wife came to him like, honey, hey, what's up, baby? Michael, the phone. And you Elton Brad like, hey, what's up, D'Antoni? I don't know how to say this, but I'm just gonna get to the chase. Don't board the plane tomorrow. We want to interview somebody first, and if this thing don't work out, we'll call you. Okay? Like, but what about like? Yeah, we know, it's okay. Just stay in Houston. We'll get back to you. Okay? All right, I told you right. Bye. Whoop.
Don't don't call us.
Call
We'll
Doc
call
Rivers.
you.
All right? He's like, don't call us. We'll call you. Call Doc Rivers. And then Doc Rivers got high. He's like, damn it. He's like, at least I got Indiana. Yeah. Mike. Yeah, man. 7 seconds or less, man. That's good, man. That's crazy, man. But we're gonna go in a different direction this year. We're gonna go with the guy from Toronto. Okay. All right. Okay, that's cool. Maybe I got Chicago. Yeah, Mike. Yeah. The Bulls not really that type of style. We're a hard nosed team, and we play a lot of defense on this side over here. Offensively, we're still struggling, but we'll get it together. But maybe next time. All right, cool. And then he was just all sad and like he's like, man, it's over. And, hey, hey, Dan, Tony, hey, Mike, hey, Steve, how you doing? Hey, man, you see that I'm a coach now. Hey, man, congratulations, man. Like you're gonna do great. Like, yeah, I see you down and out in your luck, and you was a good coach to me, and I want you to join me and Amari. Amari, yeah, me and Amari as a Brooklyn Nets. We can't lose. We got KD and Kyrie. It's gonna be a cakewalk, man. We can use you over here. He's like, oh, great. I'll come over there and be an assistant. Now you're over there as assistant. So
it's so funny. I got the joke when you said Amari because it's like he called Amari before he called him.
exactly. It's like Amari, like you can fill at the last spot. You know what I'm saying? And like, hey,
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like you think about
it's that bad.
But yo, man, like honestly speaking, like I'm with Stephen A. And I heard him say the other day, I don't really care. It doesn't hurt them, I don't think, because like don't get me wrong, he is a basketball guy. He can really help be innovative, and he don't gotta have
especially offensively. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about the pressures of like designing and head coaching the team. Now we already kind of like a decent defensive team, and Jock Vaughn is a good defensive coach, at least in my opinion, when he had them playing in the bubble. Steve Nash ain't no slouch either. He ain't a defensive stopper, but Steve Nash, he's a nice, like a player whisperer.
Steve Nash can play defensive, like depending on it. But
you know what I'm saying? So I get what you're going at. Like a player whisperer, like he can get to guys to like come together, and I think that team has the skills and has the players and the personnel that they need. Because honestly, to make a good team, you need to have role players and star players. In the Nets, and I was trying to explain this to Aubrey the other day. He's like, "Oh, how do they know they role? They never play with each other." I said, "Look, they know who the alphas are. They know Kyrie and KD are the best players on the team. There's no denying that. LeVert is nice. He can play. He can do his thing, and all them other cats and Jared Allen can play. But they know who the alphas are on that team, and they know they role. It's like I'm gonna be in my spots. I'm gonna get my little touches here and there. The unselfish team. That's all I need to know. And once you can lock in on that, I think that team will be successful. The reason why, like the Lakers won, they didn't have the most talent on the team, but everybody knew their role and they played their role. The Clippers, not so much, which is why they got bumped and lost a 3-1 lead. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the Nets gonna be okay, even with the coaching that they have. I think that conglomerate is fine. Barring everybody stay healthy and Kyrie don't go off the rails with whatever he's trying to do. But back to Philly, they got Daryl Morey as the president of the basketball operation, which is weird to me because you got Elton Brand. I know he's a GM, and I know president of basketball operations and GMs are two different things. But like, are you going to really let Elton Brand make the decision now, or are you going to have Daryl Morey make all the decisions for you now? So, what's going to happen? Like, is he cool with Doc Rivers? Like, all these different things to me is kind of weird. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I wasn't expecting that, and I was feeling similar to like, oh man, there's all these different moving parts, and it's not like people that would traditionally feel like they had certain relationships or they would have a little more organically came together. I mean, I do feel like Philly, I think I think somebody was at Philly before has similar philosophies too. Daryl Morey, like his
Yeah,
earlier
that guy,
ones. Yeah,
Brian Colangelo, something like that. One of those, not Brian
yeah,
Colangelo.
something like that.
Who's
Well,
the guy that they fired because he was doing like the whole stat thing and tanking joint and
yeah,
that's the
the part of
process guy?
the
Yeah,
kick off the
yeah,
that guy. Yeah, that guy.
yeah, him.
So I was like, I there's that connection there, but then if you go with the fact that they brought Doc in and some of the other changes, you never know. So that part made it a little more like, okay, maybe the organization might have a little bit of a belief in a little more certain analytics and certain other approaches, so they wanted him, or they were comfortable with him being on the board, and they saw what he was able to do with Houston. Yeah, there was mixed results, but he definitely was able to get deals
Yeah.
done or make moves and make certain things happen.
Mm.
So maybe they figured they could work with him for that reason. But yeah, it was just interesting. I wouldn't have expected that, but he is one of the top guys that were out there in a certain sense, as far as like reputation and status to some extent. So maybe that was the reason why. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Carl?
Yeah, you hire a new coach and then you hire a new president to oversee. That's pretty much to oversee Elton Brand. It's weird to see a president be hired after a coach. Although the GM is who hires the coach, the president is more of a guy that oversees, like the GM, make sure that the GM doesn't do anything that may be a little too much. But Sam Hinkie, by the way, is the guy that you guys are talking about.
That's
the tanking, right?
Yeah.
Sam Hinkie. But I don't know. Maury kind of screwed up to me these last few years in Houston. And you know how I feel about that stupid trade he made with Clint Capella. So I don't know if I want to say that this is a good hire. I just want to see. It depends on what move he makes first. It depends on the move. Like, is he going to trade Embiid? Is he going to keep Simmons? Like, who knows what's going to happen? So,
yeah, I think they most likely will try to trade Ben Simmons because I think they know what they have in Embiid, and as long as Embiid kind of like stay healthy, they have a dynamic big man. And the thing with Ben Simmons, even though Ben Simmons is a playmaker, right? They look at it from this perspective, like they get a decent. Like that's why when they were even before they fired their boy Brett Brown, when he started having like Ben Simmons not be like the point guard per se, they started to still play a little bit better. Unfortunately, he got hurt that game. So to me, I think the main objective of the team is to necessarily like I think with Morey, they want to get some analytics behind the thing, right? And to me, you gotta have the eye test. Sometimes all these analytics and these like freaking like all these stats, the statisticians and stuff like that, they hurt the game. Oh, he has a PER of this, or he when he has the ball in his hands for 6.7 seconds, they're liable to get a three. It's like to me, like all that kind of crap. Who sits there and does that? Like, that's what I want to know, but that's but it's like, it's like I get it. But now to me, if I'm Elton Brand, I'm like, look, I'm the GM. Now, granted, he probably had another president ahead of him before, but now I'm the GM. Now I can't really make comfortable moves because I might have a different vision than this cat, and you will let him do his thing because he got James Harden over there. Like people be holding on to people's like one achievement. Like, he got James Harden, right? He got he traded away our draft picks and he got Russell Westbrook. Oh, he got to be the GOAT when it comes to making these deals. Like, no, like teams like, I want to do these things. I want to blow up my team, and I'll give you this thing. You give me Clint Capella. You want to run with a 6'5" guy to center? Okay, I don't care, but give me what I want. So to me, I don't know what's going to happen. I still think Philly going to be a decent team. I do know there's going to be a lot of moves happening. I don't know when the draft's supposed to happen again. I know they've been working out people individually and stuff like that. So we'll see what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, man, it's like, I don't know. So it is what it is. We got to hope that they play because right now, according to LeBron, they ain't playing. Martin King Day, and then like they're gonna be trying to like have like a 55 game season. Like they act like this is a lockout. This is not even a lockout year. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's crazy, but it is what it is, man. Like I said, it was a good little combo today. You know what I mean? Like I know we keep saying, guys, and unless you guys have something else to say, I'm gonna try to wrap it. My laptop dying, and you did been on this for a minute, so.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I'm good. Once again, much love to Anderson. Like,
Yes.
no matter what happens, I hope he goes out
Mm.
well
Yeah,
and not injured, and he could have a good ending to his career.
absolutely. Same,
Yeah,
same here, man.
I think I think I want to wish Anderson a good luck on his fight. I'm watching the card right now with Greg Hardy and Maurice Green right now currently fighting. Greg Hardy. Everybody knows Greg Hardy, the ex NFL player who had a lot of trouble. He threw his girl on a couch with guns and threatened to shoot her, and he lost his football career, so he turned to MMA.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, he did decent in MMA. He had a couple of little issues in MMA too, but a
yeah,
lot of people
I've seen a fight. I've seen a fight where he kicked a guy while he was down, and I know that's like a no.
And another thing he
So,
did, like he has an inhaler, right? Now, you're not supposed to take anything when you're sitting on the sidelines, right? When you in between lines, right? So what happened was he won a fight. He won the fight, and he won it pretty good too. But what happened was he took the inhaler. He got him asthma, and the guy said, "Can you do that?" His coach was like, "Can you really do?" He said, "Yeah, man. You saw the report when he took it." Now, people who know about it, when you take an asthma, it's supposed to open up your lungs, open up your chest. So if he's shortness of breath and he's taking it mid round, he can get like more oxygen. So they saw him do it in the room, and they disqualified him in the fight. He's like, "I'm gonna get more stuff together." There's a lot of crap like that, but yeah, I think
he's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty good in this first round.
Yeah,
but I wanted to say,
ESPN or is it on ESPN Plus?
Yeah, it's ESPN Plus. I'm watching it on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the first round's about to end, but he pretty much won that first round. I wanted to say, I know we was talking about the top 10. I was saying maybe next week could be a pretty good time to do it and see where everybody, opinions are, because there's not really much going on in the sports world other than football. So I'm just throwing it out there, my opinion, that we could probably do it, next week, if anything.
Yeah, man. I mean, we gotta get it done. I mean, like I was trying to get something in earlier than a week, but like this week was tough for me with the work and the school and stuff like that. But we really don't have to get this talked about. I have friends sending me different things, and we've been going back and forth about this whole GOAT thing too. And of course, my friends agree with me with Mike and everything like that. But we got to really get into it, give our top 10. And really
I can't wait. And then we get like, I don't want to know your top 10. I don't want to know Mentalist. I don't want to know my brother until we see it, that same day. And then we're not going to debate. I don't want to debate with you guys on why you got this guy there. I want it to be more like, okay, we tell our top 10 and explain why those guys are in that spot, in your opinion. I don't really want to argue because it's an opinion-based thing. And yes, I do argue with people with the GOAT. Now, that's one thing, but like a top 10, like how can you argue with somebody about how you think he's the seventh best when this guy's, you could argue with somebody about a top 3, a top 5, a number 1, but to argue about a top 10, I can't really argue it other than saying why you don't have this guy in your top 10, but I can't argue the position you have him in. So I just want it to be like, we bring it out and then we explain why we have it in there. I'm really excited to do that one.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Hopefully we can get it done this weekend, this week coming up, next week, or so it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, man, guys, I know Hollister just sent us a text message if we want to be up, but I think we're about to wrap it, so I will text them, and I'll try to see maybe if tomorrow, because I might not be as busy tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening, or maybe either Monday evening, or maybe sometime before you got to do your thing. And speak of the dude, and he shall appear. And we just
man, Greg Hardy just stopped this guy in the second round. He knocked him down and he just pounded him out, man.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so we just gonna say how. So we's wrapping it up, man. I'm thinking we're gonna try to come back.
All he can say is hi and bye. Quick hi and bye.
Yeah. So we talked about some stuff. I mean, we talked about the hiring.
Give us your opinion on Daryl Morey. Give us your opinion on Daryl Morey. We gotta get your piece in. Get your 2 cents in.
I think he's gonna revamp that whole roster. Ben Simmons more than likely gonna be the one to go.
Yep.
I feel like it's gonna be him.
Really?
The one to go. Yeah.
I think Embiid is, because he don't like the bigs. You see what he did with Clint Capella.
But I think he did that because they wanted to go with that kind of like 3-point shooting.
That small ball.
But I think if Doc is there and Doc was like, nah, and I think the fact that they know that Embiid is such a talented big man, because like Clint Capella is good.
I think Doc wants to coach Embiid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think that what you call it, like Ben Simmons is dope and everything, and I think Embiid is way better than Clint Capella. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And he can shoot threes, so he's not going to want to get rid of a big man who can shoot threes, put the ball on the floor, and get to the basket. Clint Capella is one-dimensional, just getting the rebounds, block shots, and get alley-oops. That was like Clint Capella's bread and butter. Other than that, it was nothing like to say unique from Clint Capella to say that he was out there doing something crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but still, man, like it's still the presence, man. He would have been back. He would have been healthy during the bubble, and he would have definitely been a presence against Anthony Davis in the playoffs. That's my issue with them trading Capella. Yeah. That's all my issue was. I know I keep bringing up Capella. I'm not bringing him up like he's Wilt Chamberlain, but I'm just saying.
A good piece on the Rockets. He was a good piece.
I mean, what big difference was it that Robert Covington really was? Like that's why I'm so critical of that move.
No, but
it's not like they brought in.
Yeah, but you see, like a lot of times,
what impact?
That's what I'm saying. When you look at
go ahead.
When you look at the stats, they looked at the stats. Robert Covington was a wing that can spread the floor, and can shoot threes, was a decent defender. So they figured like, we gotta put pieces like this around James Harden. But a lot of times, some guys just don't mesh with some other players. It's just the nature of the beast. Like they don't like standing around and James Harden doing this like and one mixtape move, step back and then throwing the three or
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like so I think a lot of that was part of it. So I think that's why they had a lot of
I get what you're saying, but they had freaking PJ Tucker guarding Anthony Davis. Like let that sink in for a minute.
Oh, I know.
PJ Tucker is guarding Anthony Davis.
They thought 3 was more than 2, and they felt that if they get the threes off, they will beat them just by the numbers. But unfortunately, most of them can't shoot threes. Russell Westbrook was breaking everything, and they wasn't getting no rebounds. So every time they missed a shot, they were not getting rebounding. They wasn't getting no offensive rebounds.
You know why?
They
had Clint Capella.
Exactly. So it's like a little bit
different. Clint Capella.
They could have threw Tyson Vs out there. They ain't do that either. So it's like a lot of things like that.
Listen, man, they could have threw Tyson Vs out there for about 6 minutes, man. He would have got some rebounds, some tip backs.
And he's pretty good at doing those things.
Those tip backs, man. You telling me?
You messed him up, man. So like to me, it's stupid.
This is why D'Antoni got called after Amari Stoudemire.
Exactly. Yeah,
something like that.
You missed that one too.
It's sad. You don't say all that. We gonna be all right.
But no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we say it, but we trying to say D'Antoni, he thought that he had it in a bag. He like to leave his job before he get fired. So he said, I got mad opportunities. I'm out of here.
Nobody called him.
About to head to Philly, and it's like, yo, chill. You know what I'm saying? Don't get on the plane yet. We'll let you know. We'll call you back. And everybody else got their coaches, and they're like, no, we kind of moving on from the D'Antoni. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. But like I was saying earlier, what we're gonna do sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, sometime this week, we're gonna get into that top 10 conversation.
Well, y'all already got my stuff written up.
I'm ready. I'm ready tomorrow. I don't care. Tomorrow, Monday.
I got to adjust mine, but I'm gonna be ready too. And we have time tomorrow. Like
man.
I don't have a busy day tomorrow. We can try to figure that out and get it done.
We can do it on Tuesday during the week or so. Yeah.
I'm good for tomorrow. If anything, it depends on you when you work. What time you get off work tomorrow?
I get off 4, so I should be on like close to 6, depending on the train.
All right.
But
let's do that.
So at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I'm glad Hollister was able to make it. Unfortunately, he missed most of it. Stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we were do so. I want to thank you guys again for watching and listening to the podcast. Appreciate you guys your time. Appreciate what you guys are doing. Enjoy the day. Y'all probably gonna get this tomorrow anyway, so your Halloween will be over. Daylight saving is gonna be, whatever, over. So you're turning the clock back, so y'all get it tomorrow. But hope y'all have a safe one. Go vote on Tuesday, November 3rd. Go vote. I would say I don't care what I vote for. but just go and vote. Don't waste your vote. Just don't not vote. Just go ahead and vote. Do your thing. It's your personal choice. Just know what you're voting for and why you're voting for that individual or person. And go vote on Tuesday. Again, thanks again for listening and everything like that. Much respect and good luck to everyone out there. And God bless.